Hey, Seeker, welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life by mastering the law of attraction. So cool. My name is Talia, and I'm committed to cutting the fluff and showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to crack the code on manifestation, amplify your intuition, and play in the quantum, we are now besties. Let's do this. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. My name is Talia Joy. Welcome to my cozy little corner of the internet. How are you doing today, my love? Today on the show, we are talking about releasing resistance. We're talking all about what resistance is, what I'm talking about there, how to release it, where it comes from, all the good stuff to help you really get unblocked and move through your current level into more of what you desire, more money, more freedom, more health, more vitality, more success, more clients, whatever it is for you. We're going to talk about clearing resistance today. Before I dive in, if this is one of your first times listening to the show, hello, welcome. My name is Talia Joy. I'm a bestie in your awakening journey. I'm a channel. I'm an intuitive. I download information about the universe and how this whole thing works. I've been fascinated since I was young, studying law of attraction since I was 14, always fascinated. That's the starseed in me, the old soul in me, fascinated with the law of attraction and how we manifest the things that we desire. And as I went on my journey, I realized that I was knee deep in an awakening, and what was that, and how that all comes into manifestation, and how truly we are in a time of awakening to our co-creative abilities, awakening the part of us that knows that we can create a beautiful life for ourselves, the part of us that is, not in lack or scarcity or wounding, the unlimited, deliberate creator part of us. We are here to awaken that part, and that involves some healing, some transformation, walking knee deep on the awakening journey, as I know that you are, and I'm just excited to be here in this journey with you. We talk about all things manifestation, but as I said, also living in alignment with your soul and your highest calling, and learning how to crack the code on this life. That's really what it comes down to, is really understanding how this life experience works, how this growth journey works, and how it works to manifest the things that you want into your life. And so I'm really excited that you are here today. Let's do this thing. Today, we are talking about clearing resistance, what resistance is, and all of that. And I wanted to just say that in this, we've got something really exciting coming up in real time. It's dropping in just a couple days. It is called Healing to Manifest. And this is all what we are diving into, is we need to understand resistance, healing our narratives that are blocking us from what we want, which you'll understand, and we're going to dive into in this episode. But Healing to Manifest is a 3-week deep dive portal where you will be able to learn and experience the healing work, releasing us of our core blocks and wounds and resistance, and then learning how to do that ongoing work. So we're going to go through really identifying the core blocks that are getting in your way in all the areas of life. So a lot of us, and I'm going to get into this in this episode, but we have these narratives like I am alone, or I am unsupported, or we have abandonment wounds. We have our flavor of not enoughness, and that is totally normal. And it's important, if we are going to quantum leap, if we are going to step into our next evolution of who we are here to become, if we are going to manifest mad money and radical health and big transformations, we have to learn how to heal the ways that we've been programmed that are not supportive to where we're going. So that's what Healing to Manifest is all about. Because next up, we have Quantum Leap Your Life, which is coming right at the beginning of February. And that is all about collapsing time. This is another short one. This one is 4 weeks. We are diving into quantum leaping, timelines, activating her, going into the quantum manifestation work to send you into a portal of a radical transformation and radical change. So I recommend doing the healing work, or at least being aware of the healing work before you jump into a quantum portal, so that you understand what to do with your resistance and doubts and things that come up as you go, because it will come up. But I invite you into either one of those. The links are below. Okay, let's move on to the content of today. So I just want to start off really simple by saying that resistance. So when we say resistance, we're talking about, I mentioned in a couple episodes ago about the train. I'm probably going to bring that back in. But all that resistance is energetic junk between us and what we want. So if I am putting out into the universe, for $30,000 months or $10,000 months or whatever it is, say I'm putting out $10,000 months and I am intending for that. That is my desire. That is my manifestation. I am praying, or I am journaling, or I am declaring to the universe, I am ready to claim my $10,000 months. What happens almost immediately after we say what we want is either, first of all, the ego going like, how are you going to do that? Or that's never going to happen. It's never happened before. Or some wounding comes up with like, who's going to hire you? Or who are you to make money? Who are you to make that much money? You would be surpassing your parents or people in, there's starving children or starving people in the world that don't have any money. It might be like a, who are you to be famous, or who are you to write a book type narrative that comes up. Or it could be, nobody's ever going to buy from you, or you're never going to get a job. It's a horrible market, or your skills aren't enough. You're out of your league. Maybe you should drop your goals. Or how is that going to happen? Endlessly. How is it going to happen? People like me don't do this, or whatever. There's endless things that come up. That's our resistance. So our resistance, first of all, happens in our head. It's the thoughts we think that are contradictory to what we want. Any negative feelings, thoughts, emotions that lead into behaviors, but any negative feelings, thoughts, or emotions that go against the fact that our manifestation is done, that is resistance. Anything that goes against the fact that you are 100% manifesting your dreams, that is resistance. So as I've said also, I think it was the previous episode where we talked about like your thoughts impact or create your beliefs create your emotions create your actions, right? Thoughts are in there with beliefs. And so it's a whole flow chart. What goes on in our head impacts how we feel. Our thoughts impact our emotions. If we're like, there's no fucking way you're going to do that, immediately we go like, oh, we start feeling worse. That impacts our actions and what we do. It makes us inactive. It makes us stuck. It makes us uninspired. It has us fall into self-sabotage because there's that voice going like, you're never going to do it anyway. What's the point, right? I know you can relate to some of this or all of this, and I know that I can too. That is resistance. Anything that is contrary to what you say you want is resistance. When you say, I want money to be easy, and then you turn around to your lover or your friend or internal thoughts and you're like, fuck, money's so hard. That's resistance. So first of all, it does not work to beat yourself up over resistance or even go to work trying to beat resistance. That just actually causes more resistance. We are going to talk about this deeper in Healing to Manifest. I can't wait for this conversation. So we meet resistance with acceptance to not put more resistance into it, right? So I want you to, and this happens all the time. Clients say this to me, but I want you to think, if you are like, okay, I'm going to be positive, and then you have a negative emotion that comes up, like, oh, this day sucks, or, that person's going to let you down or whatever. And then you go, oh crap, I didn't want to have that. Stupid. Why did I have that negative thought? We can see that we just keep piling it on. And it's almost like a negative binge. It's like, well, I've opened the friggin' floodgates. So like, I knew I couldn't do it, and I always let myself down. And that's where we go. That's our head. That's our ego, that's our wounding. So one of the things we have to witness is when we have unhealed junk, it's hard for us to move through into the quantum leap territory because we are currently and constantly operating from a place of not enoughness, from a place of scarcity, lack, AKA the lingering effects of trauma, life, the things that have happened to you, the times you've been let down, the times maybe you grew up like me with poverty and scarcity and you literally witnessed your parents stressing about money, or you've had your heart broken or anything else. It just comes from this place of like, it's scary. And I don't want to fail, or I don't want to get my heart broken, or it's protection, it's wounding. So this is why we're doing Healing to Manifest, because it's not necessarily about going into each traumatic incident that has happened. You may have already done that with a coach or a therapist or within yourself. I think there's a safe space. It's beneficial to do that when it's a safe space and that's what feels like it's necessary. But in the realm of manifestation and moving through, all you really need to know is the root narrative. And this is what Healing to Manifest is about, is like bringing light to that root. So for me, being alone is a huge root core wound. I'm alone in this. So that gets projected out by isolating myself, feeling let down by people, feeling unsupported by the universe, really noticing the people in my life, my family who are not there for me, really holding on to that, easily feeling left out, easily feeling like, did you just do that to fuck me over? But in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't their intention. Why do I always feel that? Because under things, there's an underlying narrative of like, fuck this, nobody cares, I'm alone. And that was from 700,000 things from my childhood and also teenager and 20s and entire life. So that's why if I go into any one of those circumstances, it could reflect back to me like, oh yeah, I felt really abandoned. I felt really alone. But it's also from a whole ton of things. It's one of my core wounds that shows itself and recreates itself if I'm not aware of it. So it's easy for me to feel like the universe doesn't have my back, or like I have to do this all on my own. Yes, even me, because I'm always talking to spirit, but it's easy to forget that and to fall into woundings. That's the default programming as a human that was imprinted on you when you were young. So you may have it like I'm alone, or lack, not enoughness, right? There's not enough time. There's not enough resources. There's not enough money, always in not enough. Maybe you grew up with that. So we're not so much going into the incidences, but we're looking at what did your life teach you? And if you, my love, are part of On the Path, this Healing to Manifest and this whole section of conversation and manifestation can be found in the core trainings of the healing training, and then also the inner teenager healing module as well, or healing core tool, as well as the reprogramming module. So you can find more on this in the healing training, the inner teenager training, and the reprogramming. And it's essential to go through this stuff, because until we do, we have a hard time stepping into trust and openness and belief and feeling safe and secure and like a deliberate creator, because everything in us feels, well, not everything in us, but one significant part of us feels like that's not real, feels like it couldn't happen to us, or we're not strong enough, or that's, for somebody else. And we have these core wounds, whether it's to do with money or trust or anything, self-esteem, self-worthiness. There's very common core wounds that show up, and they show up as feeling stuck. They show up as blind spots when you don't know what is holding you back. They show up as self-sabotage. They show up as abandonment wounds, emotional triggers. We talked about this in the last episode, how they all show up. And this becomes almost like an invisible thing that holds you from your goals. Whereas in all reality, I want to always say, you are a quantum creator. You can collapse timelines in any moment. As I said in the last episode, you could today start working out every day and then change your life, or all of a sudden drastically make a change that your inner guide's been telling you to do, and just flip a switch and that's it. But where that devotion comes from, where that sort of gumption to like change your life comes from, is really deeply caring about your own success, caring about yourself, knowing that you are worth going after your dreams, knowing that you are worth living a beautiful life where you work in alignment with you. It's like I've been talking about sabotage. Like, I know what that feels like. I definitely am familiar with self-sabotage. But when you think about it, why would we ever sabotage what we want? Why would we sabotage our self? It comes from low self-worth and wounding, and we all have it. And it's breaking through that to go like, okay, I easily fall into not enoughness. I easily fall into lack of confidence. So we notice these wounds and truly what they are. And we're going to go through an alchemizing process in Healing to Manifest, where we recognize that they're not ultimately true. And who do I need to be or want to be, or who am I truly? What is my authentic self? What is my deliberate creator self? How can I step more into where I'm going than the limits of the past, right? So this then bleeds into the reprogramming, which is absolutely essential for manifestation. We have to start to know ourselves as a deliberate creator. We have to start to know ourselves as capable, as powerful. But if we've never been taught that, shown that, encouraged to be that, then often we don't even know ourselves to be that person. And this all comes back to healing. So with healing and in Healing to Manifest, it's not so much, it is emotional because it's so deeply profound to forgive ourselves or take like the pressure off of ourselves or to weep for our inner child. Sure, it can be emotional, but it's more empowering than anything. It's about letting go of the guards, letting go of the not enoughness, knowing that what has happened in the past has actually nothing to do with the future, and that you have unique gifts, and there's a place where your soul feels alive and you can connect with your higher being and be guided through this life, connect to your potential, truly create anything that you desire from that place of power, of magnetism, of joy, of flow, rather than never feeling enough. Right? And you can step into those physical goals that you want. You can step into money. As I said in the last episode, money is self-worth. I really believe you cannot manifest large amounts of money in low self-worth. And I think that's why even shitty people or narcissists or whatever can become super rich, because narcissists think they're awesome and they have no problem usually with confidence, or at least feeling like they deserve this and they're entitled to that. And that's, magnetic energy. I don't want to necessarily be that. I'd rather do it from love and worthiness and magnetism. But just to know that the health you want, the radiance you want, the magnetism, basically the freedom to manifest whatever you want, that comes from a clear channel and from lack of resistance. There is not much junk between you and the life that you desire. That's when you become a match, and that's when it happens for you. So to scale it back, resistance is any negative thoughts. It can be doubts, it can be fears, it can be the past playing in your mind, it can be, you're never going to do it. Whatever it is in your mind, you're not enough, they're all going to laugh at you, they're all judging. If you're seeing yourself or seeing life, or if those energies come up, that is your resistance. Anything that is contrary. So if you want, as I said, money to be easy, I'm a deliberate creator, I'm abundant, and then you turn around and you're freaking out at the cost of gas and you're fueling those thoughts going like, oh my God, how am I ever going to afford? That's resistance. So all we have to do is in that moment, you could be like, hey, I just noticed resistance. I want you to start to pinpoint and notice when you have thoughts that are contradictory to what you want, when you have emotions that are contradictory to what you want. And what you do is in the moment, you go like, I see, this is resistance right there. I see my resistance. Okay. This is lack, this is fear. And as I've been saying lately with all this quantum stuff and in manifestation vortex, we can start to say, I'm feeling resistance here. I'm feeling lack and scarcity come up, and I still know that I'm manifesting money. And that is one way to start to instantly dissolve your resistance. But I'll tell you this, when you recognize why that resistance comes up, why that core narrative comes up, when you do a little bit of that healing of the core narrative, it doesn't have to come up anymore. And then you don't have to constantly be like, even though this, I'm still manifesting, even though, and I do that every day. But the things that I heal They no longer come up in the same way, and I don't no longer need crisis control because I just know. I just know differently. I know of an abundant universe. I know of the health and vitality of my body. I know that I have the potential to create anything that I desire very, very quickly. I know of that. I know we are guided. I know our souls are expanding. I know that we are here for a miraculous life, and I don't doubt it for a second. And that all, I swear, came through the healing of I'm alone in this. Like everybody abandons me. Like it's the opposite now, what I truly believe in my core. And every once in a while, something comes up where I say I'll default into a thought of almost like, did you just try to do this at me? Or I'll default into a little bit of a trigger. And I'm like, oh, interesting. That's that I'm alone in this wound coming up. And I breathe through you. I know you. I love you now. I know what part of me is speaking. And I have endless compassion and love for that part of me, and it no longer controls me. Like we said in the last episode, do you want your 7-year-old self driving the bus, your angry teenager driving the bus, or do you want your authentic self, your powerful self driving your bus? So it is very important to release resistance, to move through your resistance, because it's not even a mystery. It is the thing stopping you from your goals. It's the only thing. And it doesn't take years of healing work. It takes like realizations that pop like popcorn, like breakthroughs when you're like, holy crap, this is that. And that's what I do. Oh my goodness, resistance just dissolved away. That comes up because of this, and it's not ultimately true. Holy crap, resistance melts away. It's so easy and simple, yet until we know this information, it's very hard to access. So I'm highly going to recommend continuing to do your healing work. And if you don't join us in Healing to Manifest, if it doesn't feel right in this time, doing your own inner child, your own inner teenager to remedy the core narratives. Not necessarily the core traumas and situations, because those did happen and we can't erase those from our lives, but we can learn from them. We can notice this happened and it really impacted my self-esteem. But now I'm learning how to build that back up. Now I'm learning how to be confident in myself. It doesn't erase what happened, but now you're working with the narrative. You're healing the narrative. Do you see what I mean by that? It's not just healing the thing. It's healing the belief that you accumulated from the life you had. Because those beliefs were legit. At one time, that felt real. It was real and it was reinforced. So it's time to remedy the core narrative that came from the things you have experienced. And that is where your resistance is coming from. And these core narratives, they go into everything. I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the I'm alone in this core narrative went into everything. It impacted all my relationships, my friendships, my marriage, my money story, my business, my relationship with my family, my trust, my faith in myself, how I treated myself, my own self-care, how I spoke to myself, the lens in which I viewed myself. It made me see everything through the lens of I'm not enough. I'm alone in this. Nobody cares. And now that I've recognized that and done healing work on that part of me that feels that, every time it comes up, I can give it love and compassion, and it no longer drives the bus. It just doesn't. There isn't that resistance, which is why I've been able to double, triple my income, depending on when we're talking about. But even in the last 2 months, my income has doubled. My body feels stronger. My channel is more open, because it's this accumulation of continuing to be in that magnetic state. And as you clear the resistance, then all that happens is more and more and more momentum. And this is where you are ready to quantum leap, free of resistance, free of invisible blocks, armed with the resources to navigate things as they come up. And that is what you're truly here for. That sounds to me like the most amazing life. Free of blocks, free of limitations, self-resourced with the tools to know how to navigate shit that comes up, deliberately creating a life that you are excited about. So if you're into that, I invite you into Healing to Manifest, as well as Quantum Leap Your Life. You can check the show notes below for all of those. And I cannot wait to just see you around. See you on Instagram. See you on the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, Seeker. I love you so much. And I'll talk to you and see you in the next episode. Hey Seeker, thank you so much for listening to this episode today. I truly hope that it served you and helped you on your manifestation journey. So if you're ready to really learn how manifestation works so that you can have the freedom to create whatever you want, I invite you to On the Path. It's a private podcast community that will help you to manifest your goals and stay on the path to your most fulfilling life and your highest timeline. This is where I guide you through transformation step by step, helping you to cultivate devotion to yourself, master your energy, do the inner work needed to release resistance, and manifest a life that lights you up. We both know that you're ready, that you're evolving, that you're transforming, that you're ready to quantum leap, and I am ready to offer you the tools and the education you need to move forward. So come and join me on the path. The link is in the show notes below.